Hi, this is Tanya from Love Buddha Tarot, back with the cards of the day for the 8th of February 2017. Um, Quite strange cards today. I'm still trying to work them out, so we'll just see what comes up with them, because they're good, but there's just interesting twist with them. Just before I start, I really want to, you might be thinking, what she got on? She sort of looks like some sort of Aztec teddy bear. Those of you that know, I'm going to Iraq in April to work with orphan children and help with a charity over there. And my friend has been out there to sort of suss it out and make sure it's safe and everything. And I met her today. I met her to talk about plans and everything like that. And she brought me this outfit and she said, "This is what I've got to wear when I'm over there." And it's like furry and it comes down to my ankles and it's just, I absolutely adore it. And I'm like, I've been walking around the house in it tonight and I don't know, I feel like some sort of like Indian squaw or something like that, even though it's from Iraq. But that's what I actually feel like. So maybe I might start channeling some sort of Red Indian today in the reading. I don't know, but that is what I'm feeling like. Very, very squaw like. I really wanted to put my hair in plaits and stuff, but I thought, no, that's a little bit much, Tanya. So anyway, back to the cards of today. The first card that we have is the Two of Cups. Now, the Two of Cups is a beautiful card, and this talks about love and relationships. But different to the Lovers card, the Lovers card is about like sort of massive physical attraction, and this is as well, but this is more a sort of mind, body, soul attraction. This card is often signified, in soulmates and things like that. I have very different views on soulmates and stuff, so I don't actually like to use that term a lot when I'm doing readings. But what I want to say with this is it's sort of like a divine union, a blessed union, if that makes sense, because it's connection and it's a connection on a higher level. So it's in the physical, but it's also in sort of a higher level as well. And what this card talks about is it's sort of like it's it's when the two come together to form like one, if that makes sense. So it's two complete beings coming together to actually form one, but also a three. So it's like a sort of, yeah, they're showing me like, yeah, so it's sort of and connected with spirit, right? Okay. um so what this card is saying is that when these two people come together, it's sort of like there is something greater than if they are apart. So they're both powerful in their own rights, but then coming together makes this a lot more powerful. And what it's saying as well is like it's talking about a harmony. It's more like I say a deepen, and this is sort of a soul love as well. And there's a mass appreciation, I think, in this as well. Now, I do a lot of readings on relationships. Relationships are usually the key to what people want to know about. And throughout my work, I tend to see a lot that are unbalanced. That's what I say. There's a relationship needs to be 50-50 in order to work. There's the give and the take, and a lot of them are sort of out of balance. And this card talks about a very balanced union. So it's balanced and blessed, they're saying there. And what comes with this is there's like a compassion, there's an understanding as well. And this is about appreciating who the other person is, not just what they can do for you, if that makes sense. So it's like I say, there's sort of the masculine and the feminine they're talking about here, and it's actually appreciating the masculine part of the relationship and also appreciating the feminine. I've just spoken to a friend of mine tonight who's just experienced a breakup, and the relationship wasn't healthy anyway. But he actually turned around to me and he said, I don't feel manly. That's it. I don't feel manly. That has been stripped away from me. So his manliness was actually it was in a power game, it was actually used against them, so to take that away now, I'm all for feminist views. I am, massively. I'm not against them, but we do have roles. We are different in that way, and a man likes to feel masculine in the same way a woman likes to feel feminine. So there is that mix, and if we take that away from any relationship, it's not cool, because you feel like you're not living up to that role, if that makes sense. So what this card is talking about is that there needs to be a compassion, there needs to be an understanding, and there needs to be a respect of the role each other plays in a relationship as well. And like I say, this card is talking about harmony, and it's about feeling loved and feeling appreciated, because when you feel loved and appreciated, you sort of, you want to give that back, so this is where there's the equal, like, give and take as well. And a lot of times within relationships, what I tend to see, and what I tend to see with my work, is a lot of times they're more about competition than cooperation. That's what I say, So it's trying to win, trying to beat, trying to put the other one down so that you feel on top, and that is not cool. It is unhealthy for both parties involved as well. So this card is talking about a relationship where there is emotional balance, where they see each other. Now, if we have a look in this card, it's like they're both looking into each other's eyes. And I don't mean see each other on a physical sense. All right, okay, there you are standing in front of me. I mean, you see the qualities in that person. You see the person that they are. You see their vulnerabilities. You see their strengths. You see their weaknesses. And you don't love them any less, because that is actually a part of who they are. And this is what happens when you get this higher form of relationship. There is this level of respect there. Now within this card, in the Morgan Greer book, he talks about, there's a victory around her head with the laurel leaves. There's a red around his head, which is like sort of feeling secure within his third eye. It's sort of it's around that, and they're toasting to each other as well, and like I say, there's a lot of green and blue, so this is heart-based communication. She's in purple, so this is all like sort of the divine. So it's like I say, this is bigger than just meeting somebody and thinking, wow, you're hot, I want to get you into bed. This goes way deeper than that. And there's a clasp here, and what Morgan, in the Morgan Greer deck, Bill Greer, who designed them, he says that this gold disc here is around near his throat chakra. So this is about the value of the spoken word. So this is about being able to talk about your emotions, being able to talk about your inner deepest feelings, and knowing that they are safe with someone, and that is for somebody to feel safe in a relationship is a beautiful thing. Now, most people would think that everybody feels safe if they're deciding to spend their life with somebody, but that is not the case, and I see that on a daily basis within my readings, and what happens is, as well, is people get suspicious of their partners, or they don't tell them things because they think, hold on, they might use that against me in the future. Ask yourself, is that really where you want to be spending your time? Because you can. I mentioned the other week, didn't I? It's just come in there. Mentioned the other week there was something came up in a reading where it was talking about sleeping with the enemy, and if you can't trust fully and trust your deepest, darkest secrets and your innermost, deepest feelings, with somebody who you're spending your life with, then you need to question, is that the right person? Because when this card comes in, this is talking about opening of the heart chakra, feeling safe, being able to do that as well. And often our heart chakras can get blocked with pain. And this is pain we have experienced in the past or whatever. And then we can blame our new partners for something our old partner's done. And that, again, this is just on the road to an unhealthy relationship. And people don't realize that relationships take work. You know, if you don't put the work in, they're going to break down, you know. And it's pointless taking, it's like a car, I always say, you know. It's pointless taking the car to the garage when it is completely knackered, because he's not going to be able to fix it. But if you take that car to the garage every month, you know, and say, right, okay, it needs a service. Does it need a top up? Is there any areas that need attention? You know, then that car will last you, you know, for the rest of your life. But if you don't, you know, you just wait and wait and wait until it's broken down and it's not working. You phone the A out and say, fix this car, and they go, yeah, you know, I'm good, but I'm not God. So this is what I feel this is saying, you know, that this relationship that this is talking about is a really, really deep, respectful one as well, you know. So it's mutual appreciation. It's 50-50. It's very balanced as well. And this is saying that if this is a existing relationship, then it could be going to a deeper level, you know, and you could be like, right, okay, this is it, you know, this is you feeling very cherished as well, you know, that's it, feeling looked after, feeling nurtured as well within it. And you know, this card is saying if you are single, you know, then expect this to come in. Now, you know, there's a lot of things, a lot of readings talking about February. February is meant to be the month of love, you know, we have Valentine's Day. Um, and you know, a lot of people are talking about, you know, these soul relationships and things like that. And February it's a big month for a lot of things. You know, like I say, there's a lot of soul connections going on. A lot of soul work is going on in February. So, you know, if you are looking to find the one, if that makes sense, then don't be surprised if it turns up in February, you know, because this card is absolutely, it's beautiful what I'm reading. It's, you know, it's not all hearts and roses and romance and shit like that. You know, this is about realness. Now, what I'm getting there, I'm sort of looking at like, it looks like they're the only two people in the world here. I don't know if it looks like they're hiding behind these trees, if that makes sense. You know, so it's like the trees are sort of, I don't know, hiding behind trees. So this could be, some of you could be, you know, in a relationship that has to be hidden as well, you know. And what I feel, if it is, I feel what this card is saying is get it out in the open, you know, because if you have this respect within a relationship, then you need to respect it, you know, by actually not flaunting it, but, you know, standing up and honoring it as well. And, you know, it's like I say, this is about being mature about it. This isn't teenage love, you know. It's, yeah, you might get butterflies in your tummy, but it goes way, way bigger than that. This is like, you know, it's what is it doing to your aura? You know, that's what we're looking at, not what it's doing to your tummy. So like I say, it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful card, this. And it's talking about doors opening, you know, and doors of opportunity as well. Opening your heart, allowing love in, merging together as well. You know, I said I was going to put plaits in my hair before. I've just noticed there she's actually got plaits in her hair there. Yeah, so this is like sort of, you know, intertwining. This is what I'm getting, like intertwining with each other to form one here. Right, okay. So, you know, this is about loving and being loved as well, you know, in the truest, purest, most innocent sense as well, you know, not, like I say, not Hallmark love, you know, which, right, okay, I'm going to go out and buy you the biggest bunch of flowers going just to prove how much I love you, you know, because, you know, that's once a year. Does that really work? So yeah, so this is, like I say, talking about relationships. Relationships are coming in strongly there. What I found interesting, and when I pulled the Osho card, it's not a nice card. Well, it is a nice card, but it doesn't look like a nice card. It's a card called Suppression, and it's number 10, and it's 10 of fire, which is 10 of wands in normal tarot. And this 10 of wands in normal tarot is all about burdens, and it's carrying burdens. It's being bent over with burdens as well. And if we look at this card here, it's not very nice at all. The person who is in it it's literally, he is tied up in knots here. You know, he's got all of these black clouds around his head. he's not being true to himself, and he is living in this hell. This actually looks like the hell, and it's like he's trapped inside this hell. Yesterday when I talked about feeling like I was being squashed in, the things were closing in on me. If you have a look, that's exactly what I was feeling yesterday. But although this card looks like bleak at first, if we look at it, he still has light shining within him. And this is what I like with this. But it's showing that it's being repressed because he's been sort of like, there's demands, there's expectations. Now, these are all tying in with it this week, aren't they? And he's been doing what he thinks is the right thing. And like I say, we have a look. It was like that man in the machine yesterday, wasn't it? But what I like about this card is that the structures around him are actually starting to crack. They're coming down. I did mention this week, didn't I? Walls come tumbling down. I've already mentioned that, yeah. And this is what I'm coming in here, So this is about, I do feel that there's ends. These walls are going to come down. It's like sort of breaking free from shackles. Now, what it does, I mean, this person actually looks like he's in a prison, doesn't he? But I do feel the time of imprisonment is coming to an end. Like I say, these walls are breaking down. And I feel this will be welcomed because, like I say, being like that with all these clouds sort of pushing down. This is exactly what I said, isn't it? In the readings the other day, they're being squashed and being squashed like this, and the anxiety, the knots, when you have these knots in your stomach as well. Now, what I found interesting with these cards is I pick the card, I put them down, I don't look at them until I sort of start, right, okay, have a quick look and then start to read them. And the way I put them down, they went like that. Now, try and do it like that. So what I seen here was, like the walls here coincide exactly with where the female is, and the walls there coincide with exactly where the masculine is. So what I'm getting with this is I feel that this suppression or this prison-like or whatever, if we put that over, that has been in between. Now, remember before I talked about something maybe being hidden? So this might be what it is. So if there is something being hidden around you, expect it to come out in the open, because like I say, these couple are now ready to toast each other, and these walls that were over them are actually crumbling, and when these walls fall, we can see there's the light behind it. And if we take away this blackness, so if we took them walls, if I had a rubber and I could rub them walls away, what we see behind it is sort of like we've got the yellow there, then we've got the red, so a bit like a tequila sunrise sort of thing. But this is sort of, it's like a new dawn. This is what I'm seeing, sort of the sun coming up. So this is quite interesting. If any of you are experiencing this and this situation, because I'm seeing it as clear as a bell here, if anybody is, could you please let me know, because this is fascinating what I'm seeing here. So like I say, I feel once this sun comes out, what we see here, it's like these dark clouds will disappear, because these dark clouds are enclosed within these walls. So if them walls are away and the prison walls are down, this is when the sun will be able to come in. And it's almost as if the two clinking of glasses like that, it's almost as if it's like when the glasses clink to toast, that's when the walls come down. It's wow. Right, okay, so like I say, this card, it's what Osho says about this card is, in Sanskrit, the name is Alaya Vigyan, the house where you go on thrown into the basement things that you want to do but you cannot because of social conditions, culture, civilization. but they go on collecting there and they affect your actions, your life, very indirectly. Directly, they cannot face you. You have forgotten them into the darkness. But from the dark side, they go on influencing your behavior. They are dangerous. It is dangerous to keep all of these inhibitions inside of you. It is possible that these are the things that come to a climax when a person goes insane. Insanity is nothing but all of these suppressions coming to a point where you cannot control them anymore. But madness is acceptable while meditation is not. And meditation is the only way to make you absolutely sane. So that's quite interesting what he's saying there. He is saying that by suppression, keeping things in, this is when we, I've mentioned this week about blowing your top, like I've mentioned this. And, this is what he's saying. We can try and repress stuff. But it is always going to come to the surface in the end. It always is. And what can happen is, the cards yesterday, the exhaustion, the moon, the all of this, because it was living a life that wasn't wanted against society. And, I did post the Rage Against the Machine links and that if anybody's seen them. But this is what he's saying here, by meditating, by connecting to the higher power, which again was said yesterday, this is when the walls come tumbling down and emotions are meant to be felt. If we suppress emotions, they end up affecting us mentally and they end up affecting us physically as well into illness. And what I've said with this is like, this is it's sort of a seeing everything, there's an honesty around this. And I feel that, like I say, by being honest, this is when, this is emotionally, like I say, I've talked about this relationship as being, emotionally balanced, being able to talk about your emotions, being able to let them out. And I feel by doing this is when these walls that are around at the moment will come down. And I've said this before in other readings, and they're bringing it in there. It's like, a lot of times depression is just repression. Depression is, a lot of people say that they have this sort of depression, but it's like, look at what is going on in your life. That you are repressing and not being able to feel or to share or whatever, and you will probably find the root of what it is. So sorry, I'm not going massively into that. I don't want to talk about that. And then we've got the Colette Baron Reid card here, which is milk and honey. And look, we've got a lovely rainbow. We've got the bubbles in the air. It's like I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. It's lovely. And what this card is saying is that you are about to enter a sweet, sweet time in your life, Absolutely lovely, lovely card, this. And it's like the land of milk and honey. There's a friend of mine wrote a song called Milk and Honey, actually. I love it. And this is what everybody wants to experience. We want to experience this sweetness of life and also this sweetness of love. And this is what it's saying. That is there, to be experienced. And it's like, this is when all of your senses are sort of awakened and you see the unlimited possibilities that the universe presents us with. So this again is linked with the one yesterday, and it's saying that these times are very, very precious, so we need to relish in them. If we have a look at that little elephant there, he's like dived right in, and he's in the bowl of milk and honey, and he's having the time of his life here. He's like pouring it all over himself, and and he's playing. I once went and bathed a baby elephant when I was in Asia, and the baby elephant, I couldn't believe how playful it was. It was like a little puppy, and it was just going under the water and coming out, and it was squirting me with all the water and everything, and it was an absolutely wonderful feeling. And this, if we have a look, that elephant's doing it in there as well. So what this is saying is that when you are in alignment, when you are your authentic self, when you are in your authentic zone, this is when you can experience the sweetness of life as well. And abundance is actually a part of life. It's we're all meant to live in an abundant way. All of our needs are meant to be met. And this is on the physical and on the emotional as well. You know, a lot of people settle and they just put up with, oh yeah, well that's okay. Okay is not good. You know, you want the best. You know, and it's all or nothing. You know, that's the way it is, because if it's not all or nothing, then you know it's settling, and everybody deserves to have exactly what they want. You know, and what this card is saying is that, you know, this is about nourishment. You know, that milk and honey will nourish, you know, will nourish your soul. There's a sensuality comes through in this card as well. It also talks about connection, which we've had with the other cards. You know, within romance, this talks about passion, you know, sweet moments of understanding. And this is what I've said, it's the meeting of minds. And it's saying that your heart's calling will be answered, you know. So please don't give up hope. And like I say, put any barriers down. The walls are coming down here. So this is when we are in alignment, and when we are in true expression with the divine as well, you know. So what happens here when we are feeling this, it's like our ego can rest. We don't need our ego anymore. You know, we are trusting our soul, and this is when the rainbow can come. And if you remember, we don't have any rainbows unless we've had rain. So I do feel that this is saying there's a time of like sweetness. They're saying sweet, sweet love. I don't know if that's a song, sweet, sweet love. I don't know what that is. But, you know, it's because the rainbow is coming, because there has been bad times. So there's been rain. So the rainbow is coming. Now, what Colette Baron Reid says within this card is that now is a time when you can seek your true north, you know. And I really, really like that, that sort of saying, you know, your true north, because it's, you know, a compass always points north, doesn't it? I never knew that, and I always thought, well, how do people know how to point in north when they're lost, you know? And then I found out, so that, yeah, that was a bit of a blonde moment, Tanya, you know. So this is saying this is the time when you can find your direction, you know, and step into the abundance that is there waiting for you. A lot of opportunities this is talking about. So there's opportunities being talked about. Like I say, we have this moon on Friday, and I do feel, you know, there's a bit magic in the moon as well. So it's saying, like, be open to whatever opportunities are presented to you, you know, and this will give you that sweet taste of success, that sweet taste of what you want in your life. So yeah, can you see why I said it was a weird reading? You know, it's sort of like it's going off on tangents, but like I say, I do get it. You know, I'm seeing a clear picture of what it is. So please, if it is in connection with you, let me know how you're going on with it. You know, it's because it's beautiful, and it's always nice. I get so many messages from people about their relationships going bad and things like that. It's always nice just to get a little message saying, hey, you know, everything is going great. So, you know, that's good. Please let me know. So I hope you like those cards. If anybody would like a reading with me, please get in touch. Availability is pretty tight this week, but I do have a few spaces that I can squeeze people in, or email ones if that's better for you. And thank you again for watching. You know, I hope those cards resonated, and let me know in the comments. Okay, Satnam.